Well, hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Melody Horde hosting the webinar, Fit for Life. I'm filling in for Paul Malcolmus tonight. Thank you for coming to learn about a 10-minute workout. Sometimes we may think, oh, I only have 10 minutes. I can't accomplish much in 10 minutes. Well, maybe we can. Our guest speaker is Dave Hubbard, America's fitness coach. Please type your questions in at the end, and we'll make an effort to answer those. Let's start out with prayer. Dear Lord, we honor you and your creation of the earth and of us. We want to be in shape. Would you help us to be exceedingly healthy from head to toe? Thank you for speaking through Dave. Would you guide Chris, our technical person? We're depending on you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Dave, I've seen you dripping with sweat in your amazing workouts when you used to do your presentations for us at Hallelujah Acres and Shelby. So I am going to hand the presentation over to you, and we'll answer questions at the end. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Melody. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Just by way of introduction, I always like to start, I love getting the question from someone in an audience saying, who made you America's fitness coach? And my answer is always, well, I did. It was available, and I took it. But I say that to say that, and I'll say this at the beginning, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not an exercise physiologist. I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist. I'm not any of those things. I consider myself to be you. I'm just somebody who I was at one time in my life extremely fit as a professional athlete, and then through a near fatal accident ended up in really a fitness crisis where I was not fit at all, and then had to figure out how to get back on track, and that's what I'm really going to talk to you about. I'm going to talk to you about what happened in the process of my figuring things out that led me to what I've been doing really for the last 30 years, and that is lecturing and presenting to corporations and organizations around the country on health and fitness, and in particular on exercise. I'm going to talk about exercise efficiency, and I like to think that this presentation is to fitness what the Hallelujah Diet is to nutrition. And what I mean by that is, the Hallelujah Diet is about efficiency at the cell level as it relates to, there's a lot of things that we can eat, a lot of things we do eat, but what does the cell, at the cell level of our body, really need for us to be in peak physical condition as it relates to nutrition. And physical fitness is much the same. There's a lot that we can do, but the question is, are you doing things efficiently as it relates to the best use of your time? What's the best bang for your buck, so to speak, as it relates to the time you spend, the money you spend with exercise? I like to start with this picture. This is not Photoshopped. It's a real picture. It was taken down in Los Angeles, and it's a perfect example, in my opinion, of fitness inefficiency. Here you have two guys who are, this is a strip mall. There's various shops up there, one of which is a fitness facility, and these two guys are obviously going up to work out, got their shorts on, got their towel, and they have a choice of the stairs or the escalator, but they're taking the escalator. Also that they can probably go in and hop on a treadmill or an elliptical machine and exercise for 25, 30 minutes. So to me, this is the epitome of inefficiency with fitness. To begin with, too, I want to point out that there's a big difference between fitness and thinness. You can't really tell if someone's fit or not by just looking at them. A lot of different body types. And just because someone is thin doesn't mean that they're fit. We see this in the animal kingdom. Here's two dogs One is obviously stocky, the other is thin. Both dogs are very, very fit. It's just that they have very different body types. So my focus tonight is not about how you look, so to speak. It's really about you being fit as God would define fitness based on primarily strength. A lot of people use the body mass index. I quite frankly hate the body mass index, and I don't think it's a good indicator of fitness at all. And the reason I say that is because I have never fit personally into this index. Because of my height and weight, I always come out when I put the figures in as either overweight or obese, or in some cases very obese. And the body mass index is really nothing more than a glorified height and weight chart. And the reason it doesn't work to determine fitness is because it omits the one thing that, in my opinion, is the most important indicator of fitness, and that's muscle mass. So when you look at body composition, the thing that really determines whether you're fit or not is muscle mass. And what's interesting is top athletes, Michael Jordan in his prime, if you were to take top athletes and put them into this formula, they would come out as obese. And the reason is because they actually weigh a lot more than they're quote unquote supposed to by this index, because muscle weighs more than fat, and they have a lot of muscle mass. So I don't think this is the best way to determine fitness. Here's the problem. A little over 230 years ago, the birth of this nation, 95% of the energy output of America was from the human body. Just stop and think about that. 95% of the energy output in America was from the human body. Today, it's less than 1%. That's enormous. That's incredible. So what's happened is, in our society in the 21st century, you can do just about anything without having to move much at all. So automation, the computer generation, elevators, escalators, golf carts, remote control everything, remote control fireplaces, remote control everything, has caused us to just not move. We're a very, very sedentary society. I use the garage door as an example, and when I'm doing a live seminar and I'm in front, I kind of walk this out, and you can get a better picture of all of the movement involved. But it used to be, before the automatic garage door openers, that I would walk out into the garage, and I would have to physically bend down and pull the garage door up. It's a heavy door. And then I would walk back, open the car door, get in the car, sit down, back the car out, open the car door, get out of the car, walk back to the garage door, reach up, pull the garage door back down, turn around, walk back to the car, get in the car, and then I'm ready to go. I can do everything that I just said by pushing two buttons. And that's just one of many, many examples of how we just don't move the way that we used to. Now, most people are confused about the benefits of aerobic cardio exercise. And I think it's important that we define our terms as we move forward as far as that's concerned. So what's the definition of aerobic? Now, you notice that I have aerobics here with the S in parentheses, and that's because the actual word aerobics with an S is not a word. It's not in the dictionary. It's not an actual word. It's a made-up word. And it's a made-up word to describe a certain kind of type of exercise that we've all come to identify. But it really is not a word based on what the word means. The actual word aerobic means oxygen. It means with air. So aerobic means with air, and it's really kind of any type of movement that you're doing where you're moving the major muscle groups of your body in such a way that it causes you to breathe a little bit harder. You're taking in a lot of oxygen, taking in a lot of air, and that's would be considered aerobic exercise. So if aerobic means with air, the question then becomes, what does anaerobic mean? Well, anaerobic means no air, no oxygen. Okay, aerobic, air, anaerobic, no air. One of the great examples of anaerobic exercise is isometrics, okay? Or any exercise where you're strained, there's such intensity involved in what you're doing that you're contracting your muscles, again, with such vigor and such intensity that it makes it difficult to breathe. And if I was in a seminar now, I would have everyone do 3 different anaerobic exercises where you'd move in 3 different positions. And again, isometrics is defined as kind of full force against an immovable object. So you're, in this case, kind of gripping your hands so tight that you're trying to break your fingers. At the same time, you're trying to pull your hands apart. You can do that even as you're sitting and listening to me now. And you can do that for probably about 10 seconds is all you can do, trying to do it, giving it all you've got. And you'll notice that as you're doing it, your tendency is to want to hold your breath. Okay, that's the no air part. You're not. The tendency is not to breathe. The tendency is to hold your breath because you're straining with such intensity. Let's look at where isometrics started. Back after World War II, we had hundreds of thousands of people, unfortunately, in makeshift hospitals all over the world who were wounded from the war. And the question became, they're going to be lying there for, in some cases, weeks, maybe months. So what's the outcome of this going to be? What kind of atrophy is going to take place as far as the muscle is concerned, and what effects is this going to have on the body? So in Springfield, Massachusetts, they decided to kind of test this out a little bit and to see what that might look like. So what they did is they took frogs, a bunch of large frogs, and they tied up one of the back legs. So you can imagine they kind of folded the back leg, they bound it up, and so you had one leg free and you had one leg bound up. And so for over a period of several weeks, they would let the frog go, and then after that time, they tested to see what would happen and what the result would be. What they discovered really, really surprised them. What they discovered was that the leg that had been bound up was 5 to sometimes 10 times larger, stronger than the leg that had not been bound up, that had been left free. And what happened was the frog began thinking that, hey, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I can't move my leg, but I'm going to keep straining and stressing and giving it all I've got to try to see if I can break this band to get my leg free. And so inadvertently, the frog was doing isometrics. And again, tremendous strength was the result. During this same time, there was a strong man, Alexander Zoss, who was in kind of a gulag over in I think Germany, and he had been thrown into prison. And he in his cell did a lot of isometric exercises. One of the exercises was that he would take the bars, put his hands on the bars, and he would try to pull with all his strength to try to bend the bars out. Eventually, he got so strong that he did bend the bars out, and he was able to escape. During this time, Hettinger and Muller were doing research again on this kind of newfound strength from this exercise called isometrics. And here's what they discovered, that a single daily effort of 2/3 of a person's maximum effort exerted for 6 seconds at a time for 10 weeks increased strength about 5% per week. So once a day, but not more than once a day, and it doesn't have to be a max effort, but at least 2/3 effort, produced this incredible strength. Now, looking back, we have a couple people that you probably remember who, were very strong, were great, had great strength. One was Charles Atlas, the other Bruce Lee, and in both cases, all that they did to build strength was isometrics. Okay, pretty amazing. So let's look at the difference between aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise in a unique study that was done by Dr. James Rippey. He took 65 people. We say dieters here because he simply put them on the same calorie intake, so they were all eating the same food and the same amount of food over a period of 6 weeks, and he divided them into 3 groups. One group did no exercise at all. The other group did only aerobic exercise, and the third group did only anaerobic exercise. So let's look at weight loss. Really not much difference. Okay, the no exercise group 9 pounds, lost 9 pounds. Aerobic group 10 pounds. Anaerobic group 9 pounds. Now is when it gets interesting. Look at the muscle loss. The no exercise group lost 11% of their muscle mass. The aerobic group lost 1% of their muscle mass. And the anaerobic group didn't lose any of their muscle mass. And here's the really, really telling part of this, is the no exercise group gained no muscle mass. Of course, the aerobic group gained no muscle mass, and the anaerobic exercise group gained 9% of the muscle mass, which is just phenomenal. So the key of what I want to get across to you tonight, more than anything else, is the key is muscle mass. The key is strength. That's what we've lost. That's what we need to get back and to maintain. 25 million Americans today have osteoporosis. Osteoporosis has become a serious problem. And the reason is because we've lost our strength. It turns out you keep the bone strong in the same way you keep muscle strong, by stressing it. Women, for example, who don't tend to do much in terms of their upper body strength, will be fine as far as their leg bones are concerned. Why? Well, because they're carrying around at least their body weight in terms of walking and getting around during the day. But their upper body, because they have not maintained their strength, because they're not stressing the muscle or not stressing the bone, becomes a serious problem. Dr. Miriam Nelson, Tufts University, she's probably the leading expert on osteoporosis in the country, says 1 year of doing high-intensity strength training can lower a woman's risk of osteoporotic bone fractures in more ways than any other single thing she can do for herself. So, one of the things at this point that I'll hear people say is, well, okay, you seem to be really downplaying aerobic exercise. What about the heart? Aerobic exercise we also call cardiovascular exercise, and it seems like the whole thing there, especially in the 70s and the 80s, was all about cardiovascular fitness, getting your heart into the target heart zone, and to get your heart strong and your heart in shape. But this is also a myth that's been perpetrated that needs to be corrected and needs to be correctly understood. So let me ask you this question, because see, the heart is also a muscle. And so the question becomes this: who has the strongest hearts? What athletes do you think have the strongest hearts? And the answer to that question is the sprinters. Sprinters have the strongest heart, not the marathon runners. A marathon runner's heart actually shrinks. The reason is that it's, we're not designed necessarily, we're not built necessarily to run 36 miles nonstop, 26 miles nonstop. We can do it. We can adapt to just about anything. But what you're doing at that point is you're training your heart for endurance as opposed to real strength. So you think of if I want to build a strong bicep muscle and I pick up a 10-pound weight, and around a 10-pound weight I can probably do 100 reps with that. Okay, I need to pick up a 20-pound, 25-pound, 30-pound weight. Then I can only do maybe 20 or 25. And then, I have to rest and then pick it up and do some more. It's the same thing with your heart. And so what's happening is what we have discovered is that people who are dying of heart attacks are not dying because all of a sudden they entered a 5K at their place of work for a charity event and they haven't run that distance in a while and their heart's not in shape and they die of a heart attack. No, what's happening is they're coming out of the grocery store at night and somebody grabs them around the neck, puts a gun to their head, and is going to carjack them, and instantly it's now fight or flight, and their heart has to come into action, and it's not strong enough. It's not strong enough to handle that event. Let's talk about metabolism, okay? There's only 5 things that affect metabolism, right? 1 is genetics, 2 is age, 3 is muscle mass, 4 is food, and 5 is sleep. That's it. Now, of this list of 5, there's only 3 things that you can control. Can't control genetics, can't control your age. You can control muscle mass, and you can control the food you eat, and you can control your sleep. By far, of those 3, as it has to do with changing and affecting your metabolism, the most important of those 3 is muscle mass. So, is anaerobic better for weight loss? Well, you tell me. And here, this is to me one of probably the most telling slides of any that I'll present to you tonight. 1 pound of fat burns 2 calories a day. 1 pound of muscle burns 350 calories a day. So you can see that if you increase your muscle mass, you're able to burn a lot more calories, and you will burn a lot more calories. Your body becomes much more efficient as you increase your muscle mass. So as we kind of wrap this up, here's my story. Here's what happened to me. I was a professional athlete. I was an offensive left tackle for the New Orleans Saints. I weighed about 280 pounds, and I came out of football and went into the ministry. I was a pastor full-time in the Bay Area. I grew up in Napa, California. I was in the San Francisco Bay Area of California. And right off the bat, I took off to do something that I wanted to do but really couldn't do because of the risk when I was playing football. Since I was a little kid, and that was to go parachuting. I call it parachuting because back then it wasn't free falling or skydiving because it was all static line jump. It was a military jump. You jumped at a lower altitude, in our case 3,000 feet, and you had a line attached, and as you exit the plane, it pulled the chute open, and you went down from there. Long story short is my chute did not open, and I only got it open about 200 feet off the ground and hit extremely hard. You're talking just fractions of seconds here before, God totally saved my life. But I hit so hard that I broke my back. And that's what I call my fitness crisis, because everything regarding fitness changed for me at that point in time. When I recovered from all of that through the therapy and all the rest, I discovered that the things that I knew to do and was accustomed to doing as far as, lifting and working out and all that was concerned, I couldn't do because of my back issues. I had a pastor friend of mine who also had some serious back problems, who had been shown a method of building strength that left the spine out completely. It put no compression on the spine whatsoever, which was really significant. It meant that I could get in a really intense workout to build strength without having to worry about my back, which was not the case with most of the exercises that I knew to do. What's interesting was this particular method of exercise was developed for NASA, for the first Apollo missions. And what happened was when they first put men, human beings, in space in no gravity for 2 or 3 days, and they came back, they put them through a whole series of tests to see what had happened. And one of the things they didn't necessarily expect, but it was very dramatic, was that they had lost between 3 and 13% of their bone mass. Now think about that. That's amazing. So just gravity alone on this earth keeps our bones at a certain strength. And so what are they going to do in space? If they're going to have these men in space for any period of time, they can't do push-ups or lift weights. So they had to come up with a way to allow them to stress the muscle and stress the bone enough while they were there. And this is the method that they came up with. And when they came back using this, not only did they gain, or not only did they not lose bone mass, but they actually gained bone mass. So very, very significant. When I was doing these exercises, I had an epiphany, okay, and this was it. We just watched a Super Bowl, and that Super Bowl with commercials was 4 hours long. The actual time on the field is 60 minutes, 15 minutes a quarter. So here's my question for you. If you're sitting on the couch and you have a stopwatch, and you start the stopwatch every time the ball is snapped, and you stop the stopwatch every time the official blows a whistle, at the end of that 60-minute game, or at the end of the 4-hour game with commercials, how much time is on your stopwatch? So what I'm asking, think about it, is how much actual movement in terms of physical exercise and exertion is taking place during that 60 minutes? Well, the answer may surprise you. It's less than 12 minutes. Less than 12 minutes. The Wall Street Journal had a full-page article on this about 2 or 3 Super Bowls ago because it's such an astounding statistic. So what I realized from that is that that's all what we call now ballistic movement. It's short, it's intense, and it's not necessarily that long. And it doesn't have to be that long as far as how much time you're actually doing it in a 24-hour period of time in order to get fit and really stay fit. So my formula that I developed off of that was this: F plus I equals less T. And what that means is if you increase the frequency plus increase the intensity, it means that you can exercise for less time. You can spend less time doing it. I call it the Cheetah workout. And here's what I mean by that. What does a cheetah do most of the day? What the cheetah does most of the day is just lay under a tree and rest. But the cheetah gets hungry, it sees an antelope sprinting by, and it takes off on a full sprint. It chases down the antelope, jumps on the antelope, enters into a kind of an intense workout to kill that animal, and that whole process takes about 10 minutes, and then it sits down for a big meal. And so what I began to do is I said, look, what if you really don't have, what if we're spending way more time than we need to, not really being efficient in what we're doing in order to be able to get fit and stay fit? So I locked into doing a 10-minute workout every day and I did that, for years, and then charted my progress, and it was absolutely phenomenal what took place, and that's what really dictated everything for me going forward as for what I've been doing over all these years. Now, I draw a distinction between exercise and a workout, and I feel like this is really important. So it's an important distinction. Exercise is physical activity that's planned. Exercise is anything you do to just move your body. And you need to get as much exercise as you possibly can. Walking is great. You need to walk. You need to play golf. You need to play tennis. You need to be active. And that we're not getting as much as we should, and we need to get as much as we possibly can. But at the same time, what we really need is a workout. And a workout is different than exercise. A workout is intense physical exertion. And so it goes like this. Exercise is something you many times plan for. It's fun. It's something you look forward to. It can be very enjoyable. A workout is not something you look forward to. A workout is not enjoyable. It's a get in, get out, and get it over with type of thing. And it's something that if you're probably over the age of 50, your parents and your grandparents did a lot more of by virtue of just what they had to do on a daily basis. And we're not getting that kind of intensity as far as putting stress on the muscles and the bones, and we're paying the price for it. So FIT10 in this case stands for a daily 10-minute workout. A 10-minute workout that's going to be intense in terms of putting, in stress on the muscles through that period of time, and the idea is to do it daily. There used to be a thing on I think it was Saturday Night Live years ago called Deep Thoughts, and these are some of my deep thoughts that I'll give as I wrap this up. It's far better to brush your teeth for 2 to 3 minutes a day than for 45 minutes 2 to 3 times a month. I want you to think about that as it relates to brushing your teeth, as it relates to forming a habit. I doubt that any of you did not brush your teeth this morning. And I doubt that any of you ever stand in front of the sink and say, you know what, I'm not going to brush my teeth this morning because I got a really busy day. I'll just brush longer tomorrow. No, you just do it and you don't even think about it. And the reason for that is that someone loved you enough when you were a little bitty that they took that brush, put it in your hand, and put the toothpaste on, and held your hand and brushed your teeth and told you while you were doing it all the good things that are happening if you do, and all the bad things that happen if you don't. And they made you do that every day until it just became this kind of unconscious habit that is just a part of your life. And that's what I have found to be the case as far as implementing a workout in your life as well. If it's just 10 minutes and you can do it every day, it just becomes a part of your daily routine, and it has a powerful impact down the line. So FIT10 is a unique combination of isometric and isokinetic resistance. Okay, I'm not going to take a lot of time to go into the details of this because it really doesn't matter that you understand the science of it. It's just that it uses isometrics to tire the muscle very, very quickly, okay, and get the best for the 10 seconds that you're doing the isometric contraction. And then you're going to go through the full range of motion using what's called isokinetic resistance, which is different than just picking up a weight in that it puts a consistent resistance on the muscle through the entire range of motion. So bottom line is a full body workout can be achieved, including stretching, with 4 or 5 exercises in as little as 10 minutes. The secret sauce part of this is the isometric contraction pre-fatigues the muscles and saves time. So I just use this as an example. If you got down and did as many push-ups as you could, let's say you could do 25 push-ups. Well, if you started by going down halfway and doing a yielding isometric contraction by just holding there as long as you could, which would probably be only about 10 seconds, and then tried to do as many push-ups as you could, you'd only probably do 5 or 6. So you cut the time down tremendously, but accomplished actually the same or more as far as what you're trying to do with the strength part of it. Okay, so isokinetics is characterized by producing a constant speed relating to muscular action with a constant rate through the whole movement. Okay, so FIT10 is a program that I developed. It's patented, and it involves a series of exercises. The unit itself is very, very small. Everything weighs less than 2 pounds, fits in a small bag about the size of what you'd put a hairdryer in to throw in a suitcase to travel. It hooks onto any door and a couple different positions of the door. And there's a DVD that comes with it that is very specific in terms of teaching you exactly. It's me that's teaching you on the DVD and showing you how to do each of the exercises correctly. It is technique-oriented, meaning that the more you do the exercises technically correct, the more you get out of it. And you start out by just learning the exercises and then go from there. Reduces body fat, increases lean muscle mass, improves flexibility and overall strength. And the beauty of that is it does it all without stressing the back or joints. So it puts very, very little stress on the joints, okay, which is great because as we get older, your muscle retains the ability to build strength, but the joints really, really do not. And so one of the nice things as you age is being able to put full effort into a workout without having to have the joint soreness that accompanies that. Okay, we've got many, we've been working with Holly Akers for many years as far as them offering this 10-minute program, and there's many great testimonies that have come down through the line. So I end with some more of my profound sayings, and we'll go quickly through these and get to our questions in just a couple minutes. Number one is this: small changes make a big difference over time. Small changes make a big difference over time. So this is something that you say, you know what, I'm going to commit myself to doing this. It's going to be 10 minutes. It's a get in, get out, and get it over with. And you'll see over the course of weeks and months what a tremendous difference that it makes. Number two, for any change to be permanent, you must be willing to live with that change permanently for the rest of your life. This is very, very important. When it comes to nutritional changes, especially losing weight, everybody wants a quick fix. If you came to me and says, I need to lose, I'm going to be in a wedding in a month and I need to lose 20 pounds, I would say to you, okay, we can do that. Now, it's not going to be fun, but we can do it. The problem is that what we did to take that weight off in that shorter period of time, you're not going to be able to continue to do. You can't. So far better is to make small changes that you can then incorporate into your life to say, you know what, I'm going to continue to do this for the rest of my life. And that's when the real change occurs. We tend to, I want you to think about it in the sense of a tattoo with that change, not changing hair color. Most people think about making changes like we change hair color. No big deal. We change our mind, hair grows out, we cut it off, we're on to something different. Think tattoo, not hair color. And finally is this: does the track, this is a good question, does the track imprison the trainer, set it free? And the reason I ask this question is because some people will say, well, wait a minute, Dave, what are you telling me? You're telling me that all you're doing is these exercises every day as far as your workout is concerned? Yeah, and my answer is yes. But think of it as getting on a track and staying on the track and setting you free to reach your goals. The answer to this question is yes. The track does imprison the train, and it does set it free. If it didn't have the track, all that power would just run the train to the point of destruction. But the track ultimately, and having a track to run on, is what sets the train free to go full power and get to its desired goal. All right, didn't know how long that would take me. Took it a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I want to open it up for questions at this point in the time we have left.
Okay, I do have some questions here. First of all, if somebody purchased the Fit 10 a while back and lost the DVD, can they get a new DVD?
Yes. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Just go to your website?
Yeah, have them email me, just HUBBARD AFC, America's Fitness Coach, AFC, @gmail.com. So Hubbard, HUBBARD AFC, @gmail.com. Just email me and I'll pass that on, and we'll get a DVD to you.
Okie doke. Okay. This lady says, I'm 78 and have been diagnosed with osteoporosis in back and hips. Can I use it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't matter as far as any of that is concerned. You may find that, again, the beauty of this, too, is you can't overdo it. So if you think about that, when you go into a gym and you're either sitting down in a machine where you're moving a pin and you're kind of guessing at what weight to put it on, or you're picking up a dumbbell or a barbell and once again kind of guessing as to how much weight you can use, it's possible to use too much weight. It's possible to overdo it. The beauty of this is you can't overdo it. You're providing the resistance. So you're going to start off with just a little bit of resistance, and you're going to gradually increase that as you go. So it's virtually impossible to do too much to where you would injure yourself or hurt yourself in the process.
Okay. Someone says, is rebounding on a rebounder trampoline helpful?
Yes, it's incredibly helpful. And what would the first half of this, the first 5 minutes of this 10 minutes, you're doing upper body strength exercises, okay, that incorporate virtually all the muscles in your upper body, and you're doing kind of some full body stretching, all right? The second 5 minutes, you're walking or shuffling or jogging or running against resistance, okay? And I personally like to do, and many of our Fit 10 users do that running, walking, shuffling portion on against resistance on a rebounder, on a mini trampoline. And it's just a great way to do it because, again, it takes, the great thing about a rebounder is it takes the stress off of your hips and knees and ankles and off of your joints. And of course, if you've done any research on rebounding, you understand that what the tremendous benefits for your lymph system that it does as well.
Okay.
And if you just Google rebounding and the lymph system, you'll come up with everything you need to see as far as the benefits of all that.
I have another one. Raymond says, I'm 77 years old and have gotten aerobic exercise for the past 50 years, i.e. running, biking, swimming, and resistance rebounding. At about age 65, I noticed that I was getting weaker, especially in the upper body, and my upper body strength is currently at a loss. Currently a lot less than at age 60, say. By the way, in 1964, I bought the Charles Atlas program, and people called me DT for dynamic tension. At any rate,
yes.
Do you have any advice for me to rebuild my strength? How is he going to rebuild his strength?
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I mean, the dynamic tension, what we mentioned with Charles Atlas, which is essentially using isometrics, full force against an immovable object, or in a yielding fashion, as I mentioned with the hold down halfway on a push up, that will build strength. Fit 10 is just levels up on that. It takes the best of the isometric portion of it and then adds the isokinetic resistance, allowing you to shorten the time even more and get more out of it. Again, without beating up your joints in the process. So yeah, no, it would be perfect for him. If he's comfortable with doing the longer distance stuff on the aerobic portion of it, that's fine. But he's exactly right. What he'll find to be the case there is he'll have the strength he needs in his legs, but not upper body. So this Fit 10 would be perfect for him.
Can you do the Fit 10, say, in the morning and then at night too?
You can, absolutely. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. It doesn't have to be done 10 minutes all at once. You can do 5 minutes. You can do the stretching in the morning and do a few exercises in the afternoon and do the rest at night if you want. You can split it up. It's not a problem at all. The idea is that you just get it done. I personally think there's a power to daily. I think that, if what's done today is done. When you put it off, then something comes up and you don't you don't get it done, and we don't develop the habit. And so I think there's a power to getting locked into something and doing it every day. Whether that's quiet time and devotional, it's the same as a workout. Procrastination is my sin. It is my pain and sorrow. I think I will correct myself. I think I'll start tomorrow. Just
tomorrow's
daily
a great
is
day,
powerful.
isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I agree with you on that. Once you establish that routine, too, I think even a specific time during the day, just because then you just do it. Say if you're going to do it. Yeah.
In most cases, that's morning, but it depends whether you're a morning or a night person. I'm a morning person. I have more energy and more drive and everything in the morning than I do after 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But my daughter, for example, is exactly the opposite. She doesn't seem to get wound up until 6, 7 o'clock at night. So it doesn't matter in either case, but I agree with you. Finding a time when you just lock it in is best.
It is best, I believe, too. I remember when I was doing the Fit 10, and I enjoyed it because it sort of reminds me of the bands. Like if you ever have done physical therapy, those bands they give you that you pull on, and it does seem to like you're not going to hurt yourself, but you're going to strengthen yourself, and you're going to stretch yourself. Yeah. I remember you had to count like for about 45 seconds or a minute. Is that still the way you do it? You count how long?
Yes, you do. Yes, on the exercise portion, you're doing 3 sets. You're doing 3 repetitions that are 2 parts each. You're doing a 10-second isometric contraction where you're giving it full force, but it's not moving. And then you're immediately working against resistance for another 12 seconds, and you would do 3 of those repetitions for that exercise. So that's 66 seconds. So it's basically 66 seconds. But the other thing that happens here is the way isometrics and the way these exercises are designed pull in a lot more muscles than would be the case if you were lifting weights. So you're able to work a lot of muscles at once.
Exactly. Let's see. How quickly can you significantly improve bone density with the Fit 10, and where would the improvements be seen? Upper extremities or hip or spine?
Probably, I would say to the second part of that, I would say probably it would be seen more extremities than the spine, although I don't really know. And honestly, I have no idea how long it would take to see improvement as far as that is concerned. I know it does. I know going back to Miriam Nilsson's quote that 1 year of doing high intensity strength training is literally better than anything else you could do as far as osteoporotic bone fractures and osteoporosis is concerned. But I have no idea what the variables are there in terms of time.
Let's see, we have Ann that says, I had orthoscopic shoulder surgery 6 months ago. Can I do this?
Yes. Yeah, you absolutely. Again, this is used a lot for rehab, okay? Which makes sense because, again, let's say you come off surgery. Let's say it's rotator cuff or it's just whatever the case might be. You've got limited range of motion probably. You've got, you just got that process of healing. And at the same time, you want to begin to strengthen those muscles, but you don't want to do too much. And so you'll be able to control with this exactly what you need. If it's too much, you'll recognize that immediately, and you'll just back off. You'll be able to back off.
I do think it's good to be very careful not to overdo it, especially in the beginning.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, and that's why the daily thing is. I tell people, look, if you're going to start on the 10-minute workout, the first week, I would recommend that I honestly would recommend that you don't put in any effort at all as far as intensity with the exercise. Because they're technique oriented, all I really want you to do the first week is learn how to do the exercises correctly. I mean, you're going to be doing these every day, well, hopefully for the rest of your life. So, and again, it's only 10 minutes. So, just relax. The first week, don't sweat. Just make sure that your body's, you're in the right form and in the right position, going through the motions, learning how to do the exercises. And then, if you do it for the first week, you get into the second week, you'll begin to increase the resistance and go from there.
That's a great suggestion. Is Fit 10 better than lifting weights?
It's different. It's just different. When you one of the things you're not going to do with Fit 10 is you're not going to build bulk. You can't build the bodybuilder build using this formula of exercise. You have to do the concentric eccentric motion with the lengthening and the shortening of the muscle, with the back and forth of the weight, and of course when you use that method, then those of you out there in the audience who know this, who are using that, you're at a gym, you're lifting weights, that sort of thing. You know that when you do that, you're not supposed to lift the same muscle group the next day. And the reason is because when you've worked the muscle and you've torn down the muscle fiber, and it needs time to heal. So you tear the muscle fiber down, then it heals, and when it heals stronger before, and that's what kind of builds the bulk to the muscle. So you do arms one day, you do chest another day, and you rotate the muscle group so that you're giving you have the healing time built in. Okay, that doesn't apply here with this because we're not doing that concentric eccentric motion. You're just doing that. You're just working the muscle in the positive and not the negative. It gets complicated, and I don't want to get down in the weeds where everybody's eyes glaze over. But to answer your question, no, it is different. It's a different type of exercise. It builds a lean, strong muscle, but not the bulk. But the trade-off is you don't have the soreness in the joints, and you can do it much quicker. And you leave the back out of it completely.
And you should know that.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we've got people asking, would it be overdoing it if I did this 10 minutes per day plus boot camp 3 days a week?
If you're doing a boot camp, I would say I would highly recommend that you get Fit 10, if for no other reason than to learn it, to understand it, and to see how unique it is in its ability to do certain things that you can't do in any other way as far as building strength is concerned. And I think that what you're going to find with that is that you'll want to incorporate it into your whole portfolio of what you're doing with exercise. So, you're going to learn some things in the boot camp, and again, depending on your age and your stage of life, you may continue to do those things as far as your workout is concerned, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But I think you'll find as you age that there's certain, you're going to, well, I'll just put it to you this way. I mean, I'm 63 years old. As you age, you're going to be doing far less boot camp and want to be doing a whole lot more Fit 10. Again, because your body, it's just, it's just the reality of aging.
Right. Is there such a thing as too much exercise? Is there negative stress?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and I think in some cases today, especially with that there are those who are overdoing it. Yes, I really believe that, yes.
Does part 2 strengthen the legs?
Yes, big time.
Okay, Amy says, I'm a professional bodybuilder with the IFBB, and I'm wondering if you recommend that I supplement after my workouts with the protein from Hallelujah Diet. What exactly do you eat after your workout? And if you're not familiar with the Hallelujah Diet protein, it has like a pea protein, and it has various seeds in it. It's a vegan protein.
Yeah, I'm not one to be able to answer that question for you. That's where you guys could come in with your product. I don't take any supplements along those lines as far as that's concerned. So I really can't answer that question.
So you're not a big protein powder man.
I'm not. I'm very, very careful about what I eat, and I eat clean and I eat smart. But I'm not a supplement guy in that regard.
Right. You just try to eat well, clean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if somebody would like to purchase it, I do believe we had somebody ask. They're $117.95. You can get those at Hallelujah Diet. If we happen to have sold out through this webinar, somebody went online and purchased them all up, we can get more in very, very quickly. All you need is a door, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Hang it on. All you need is a door to hang it on, and 10 minutes a day, and you're done. And you'll be glad you did. So thank you, Dave, so much.
You're very welcome.
I know that I'm so motivated myself because I believe with my whole heart that 10 minutes can be of tremendous and life-changing value to people. I think a lot of us think we don't have a lot of time, and we don't, but we can probably carve out 10 extra minutes a day, especially when we need it so desperately. And actually, as we age, we need it. Women need it for our bones. It's just a wonderful program, and you explained it so well. I think that's what makes you even more motivated when you see how important it is to do those anaerobic exercises. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We hope to see you next month. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.